Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Please accept our humble
कृष्ण
obeisances.
अच्छा, एक सेकंड ये कुछ एक मिनट मैं कुछ देखना चाह रहा हूँ. कैन यू हियर मी आउट नाउ?
Yes.
या इट्स गुड, इट्स गुड. एक्चुअली वो
Hare Krishna.
हरे कृष्णा एक्चुअली मेरा वो क्या नाम है, हेडफोन में देख रहा था, कुछ गड़बड़ है. एनीवे, ऑलराइट. ओम ज्ञानस्तिमिरन्दस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः. नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिने. नमस्ते सारस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे. जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवाश आदि गौर भक्त वृंद. हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम राम राम. ऑलराइट. सो कल हम कहाँ थे? कल हमारी बात हुई थी कि हम एक सेक्शन जो है उस पे नजर मार के आए तो हमारी सबकी जिंदगी थोड़ी सी आसान हो जाएगी. तो मुझे नहीं मालूम कि ये आप कर पाए हैं कि नहीं कर पाए हैं. जस्ट अ स्मॉल सेक्शन आई आई लाइक आस्क्ड फॉर. हाँ, ओके. मैं ये नहीं पूछूंगा आप लोगों से कितने लोग पढ़ के हैं, कितने लोग पढ़ के नहीं आए. खामखा जो है लोगों को जो है ना घसीटने वाली बात होती है. सो मैं मान के चल रहा हूँ सब पढ़ के आए हैं. जो पढ़ के आए हैं उनका भी भला, जो नहीं पढ़ के आए उनका भी भला. सो anyway, let's get on with it. We are like now at the second chapter, and we propose to conclude that today. And just give me a second. I'm just trying to find out a couple of yeah. This is what I was looking for. Where is that? All right. So I think we covered up to verse number 45 or 48, I believe. Correct? 40, verse number
47.
47.
47.
47, like, yeah, okay, fine. Yeah, 47. Yes. 48 onwards, like we are gonna go from 48 onwards. All right. So before we go there, okay, let's go up till 53 before we yeah, let's go up till verse number 53. Let me see if I can. Vishakha. Yes, Maj, go on.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yeah,
I wanted to ask a question from the you gave the task to read the
yeah, go on. Please
text
go
number
on.
47.
Mhm.
So I
Please go on.
have a question from there.
Go on.
I have a question from the purport that positive attachment and the negative attachment, and the attachment of Arjuna was positive or negative?
Okay, first and foremost, whether it was attachment or not. And then we go for positive attachment or negative attachment, right? Okay. So yes, that's a fact that Arjuna is playing that part of showing positive attachment. He's showing the part of positive attachment. Krishna is showing him, even from the point of negative attachment, how it is futile. That he has done before, not now. Because now, like, he has entered into the philosophy of Karma Yoga. This was done as part of the Sankhya, where he showed that either it is positive or it is negative, it's attachment, and it's like futile because it's like this material world. So now he is coming to the realm of Karma Yoga. So, and we will see how he navigates when we will summarize the whole thing. So, all that your question, I just briefly answered that, but it will be like more detail. It will be discussed in more detail. Thank you very much. Thank you for that question. That actually spurred that actually spurred our discussion. Okay. Let's go to verse number, where is it? Okay, here. Go on, I need a volunteer to read it out for me. Read on. Yes, Vanshikamaji, go on. It's Vanshikamaji, right? Yeah, go on. Why, Maji? Go on, please. Sorry, my bad.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, pranam. Verse number 53.
No, 48. You can see over the screen here.
Okay. So sorry, Prabhuji. Yeah. Perform your duty equipoised, O Arjuna, abandoning all attachment to success or failure. Such equanimity is called yoga.
Yes. Equanimity is called yoga. Samatvam yogam uchyate. This is one definition of yoga. If somebody asks you what yoga means, one of the definition, or you can say characteristics of yoga. Samatvam yoga uchyate. Okay. Equanimity, you see the word forward here. Equanimity, yoga, and it's called equanimity. That's one definition of yoga. It's actually basically more of the karma yoga part, but it's like yoga. Nevertheless, it's yoga. Okay. Go on, continue. Verse number 49.
O Dhananjay, keep all abominable activities far distant by devotional service, and in that consciousness surrender unto the Lord. Those who want to enjoy the fruits of their work are misers.
You see, again, Krishna is talking about surrender here. Although it is karma yoga, but what is this? In that consciousness surrender. So what do we understand by consciousness? What do we understand by consciousness? What are the some of the what may be some of the let's discuss this. What are some of the constituents or ingredients of consciousness? What can be some of the constituents or ingredients of consciousness? What can you tell us about consciousness? Go on. The floor is open for everybody. Floor is open to everyone. Go on. Don't raise hands.
Soul, Prabhuji. Soul.
Soul, okay. Hold that one. Okay, other thoughts?
Our intelligence.
Something. Okay. Other thoughts?
State of mind.
Something to do with that. See, it's like very close. It's all very close. They are all related, but like
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, the
Karunamai
ability of
Maji.
thinking, Prabhuji, the ability of thinking, perceiving anything, basically the energy of the soul.
Because of consciousness, that we have the ability to think, right? So like these are all like just like Pandit Gadadhar Prabhu said, it's soul itself. Vaibhavi Mataji said it's intelligence. Somebody said mind, and then you said the ability to. So like I'm just knitting all of that together. It's all around this one concept, the center being this consciousness. It is because of the soul, the consciousness is felt. Soul, the presence of soul is felt through the via media of consciousness. It is actually consciousness which tells us that there is a soul. The presence of soul is basically, like is amplified by consciousness. And therefore, like conscious intelligence travels through consciousness. And consciousness also reveals a state of mind. When we talk about the activity of consciousness, how consciousness comes into play. We might have different consciousness is different state of mind. A different state of consciousness is reflected in a different state of mind. You see, all of these things. So what basically is consciousness? Okay. So by that measure, actually consciousness is never created. It simply exists as part and parcel of the soul or part and parcel of Paramatma. Consciousness is again something which is not a dead matter. Consciousness is a state which is actually part and parcel of the Supreme Lord. And that's why we inherit, the jiva inherits the consciousness in minute quantity. Okay. That's the idea of consciousness. See, it cannot be, it is eternal. Consciousness, what is consciousness? It is eternal. It cannot be destroyed. Consciousness is omnipresent, at least in our human body. That's why we can feel all the parts of the body. Just like if somebody is paralytic, what happens? The consciousness leaves from that part of the body. That part become unconscious. Or say, for example, we administer anesthesia. What happens? The consciousness subsides. And we don't feel anything. It's numb. Okay. So it's unchanging. It never becomes anything else. Of course, that's pure consciousness, but like contaminated consciousness is different, but pure consciousness. Okay. It does not change its constitutional position. Consciousness. The only time that happens, you call it death. Okay. So it's also it's actually imperceptible. You can perceive it through the senses, but still cannot get a hang of it. Still cannot get a hold of it. Still beyond that. Of course, we do perceive consciousness, otherwise. And it's because of speculation, it is beyond the speculation function of the mind. That's why consciousness is reflected in the mental state. But still, it's beyond that. Because mind is again dead. It's a dead matter. And that's why consciousness is immutable, actually. A part of parcel of the absolute truth. So actually, consciousness is like that. So the characteristics of the soul and the characteristics of the consciousness are inseparable. I think Jyotima ji raised her hands at some point in time, I believe.
Yes, Prabhuji. Actually, I was just wondering that consciousness, when we leave our body, so after leaving the body, the consciousness remains same and or it changes, like after.
Consciousness remains the same way it was in the body. That's why that determines our next body.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's why it's like that. So that the state of the consciousness might be left the body is the consciousness now we have. That's
Okay.
very difficult. It's very difficult to change the consciousness while being in the subtle body.
Yeah.
It's very difficult. It may be easy. It may be easy if you are practiced to yoga. If a
Okay.
person, the layman who is not practiced to yoga, who has not dealt with the consciousness while he was in the body, there's no way he can make any changes.
Okay.
Good, good,
Thank
good.
you, Prabhuji.
All right. So with that, why Maji, did you raise your hands to continue reading or do you have a question as well?
No, continue reading, Prabhuji.
Yeah, okay, go on. Wait. Let me go back. Where were we? Consciousness. Yeah,
50th.
let's go to the 50th one. Yeah. Now the Buddhi Yoga. Go on.
A man engaged in devotional service rids himself of both good and bad reactions, even in this life. Therefore, strive for yoga, which is the art of all work.
Again, you see another definition of yoga. Yoga karma sukhaushalam. Samatyam yoga uchyate was the previous definition. Another characteristic of yoga is yoga karma sukhaushalam. Yoga is the art of work. You see? Yoga is the Krishna consciousness, is the art of work. Shubham Prabhu, go on.
Question
Go on.
Question should not limit. That's what mourning and lamenting.
Should what? voice is breaking like anything, Prabhu. Is there anybody else who can hear him and communicate
I
with
can
us
write it.
to
I
us?
can write in the chat. I'm writing in
Yeah,
the
it's
chat.
better. Yeah, yeah. That's yeah. That would be more prudent. Please do that. Let's see what's coming. Oh, in the meantime, okay. We found it in the chat. Right. What is the difference between mourning and lamenting? Yeah, good question. Of course, it's not exactly connected to the subject at hand, but like I'll try to answer that, because otherwise you have questions like that in your mind and the class goes on. So you cannot travel with the class because the mind is like latched onto that question. So yes, mourning is an activity which is to honor a great personality. Lamentation is for something which you have lost and not going to gain. And it is just the opposite side of the same coin, which is what you call hankering, something which you haven't found. So lamentation and hankering goes hand in hand. So both of them, when you're lamenting and when you are hankering, you are not living in the present. You are not living in the now. You are either living in the past or living in the future. Whereas mourning is an act of showing respect or paying respect to a great personality. You don't mourn for something which is not great enough. That is lamentation. Mourning is very specific. Thank you for that question. It's a very, very, very thoughtful question, actually. It's a very thoughtful question. Okay. So now with that, let's go ahead. Okay. We're finding different definitions of yoga, you see, and different verses. So please pay attention to those things. All right. Verse number 51. Go on, Mataji.
By thus engaging in devotional service to the Lord, great sages or devotees free themselves from the result of the work in the material world. In this way, they become free from the cycle of birth and death and attain the state beyond all miseries by going back to Godhead.
That's you see, that's why it's Bhagita summarized, because it's like talking about everything, how you can work in this world, free yourself from the reactions, and then also go back to Godhead. So the point being, like Arjuna is, as we understand, he's actually a liberated personality. He's actually above, beyond this ignorance and bewilderment. But still, so when you're talking about Bhagavan here, I am very much tempted to quote Jiva Goswami, who says, Bhajaniya gunacha anantacha nitya, means he that possesses all adorable qualities and whose attractive nature is such that he attracts our feelings of affection and adoration. That's called Bhagavan. It's another understanding of Bhagavan. So, unless and until one is attracted to Krishna, this engaging in the devotional service of the Lord, how do we get free? We actually get free when we get attracted to Krishna. When that attachment is transferred, like Shobha Prabhu was asking. No, Jyoti Maji was asking. Positive and negative attachment. So when the attachment is transferred by engagement, see, this should lead to that. Engagement of devotional service must lead to transfer of that attachment. Then only one gets free. Devotees free themselves from the result. You see? So the attachment must be transferred to Krishna. So because Krishna possesses all those qualities, as Jiva Goswami says, Bhajaniya Chaguna. He is the only one who can be adored, Bhajaniya, person who should be worshipped. who should be adored, who should be loved. Why? Because Ananta, Gunacha Ananta Nityacha. Because he has got eternal permanent qualities. And one is attracted by the qualities. So therefore, that's like what we are basically aiming through these basic things. Right, let me see if I haven't, if I failed something. Yeah, and here another point, just hold it, Pandit Gadadhar Prabhu. Because he's talking about karma yoga here, you can see, and by karma yoga you can free yourself. We must understand that we don't believe in fatalism. Okay. That is basically the idea. That is not karma yoga. That is what we call Purva Mimamsa, or Purva Mimamsa, better known as Karma Mimamsa. This is not karma yoga. See, there are many terms working around the term karma. Okay. It's like karma kanda is absolutely something different, a different animal than karma yoga. Okay. Similarly, karma mishra bhakti is again another term. Write down these terms separately so that you know that these are all separate terms. They have nothing in common. They all look alike. And when when you start using them and you see them used, very easily get confused. Okay. So karma mishra bhakti is very different from karma kanda, is again completely different from karma yoga, is again different from karma mimamsa. So these are the terminologies you must get used to. Get used to. Why you must get used to them? I would say so that nobody else can cheat you. So you may cheat yourself, that's a different thing. That's between you and Krishna. Let's not other be part of that game. Okay. Karma Mimamsa. So this is the Karma Mimamsa philosophy means that you will get whatever you have done, you will get the result. That's it. And there's nothing beyond that. Okay. It doesn't require the presence of God. It doesn't require a God. You did something and you get a result. Okay. There is no person who in between who is managing the results or who is giving you the results. It just comes automatically. You work and you automatically get the result. Okay. So that's called karma mimamsa. So be very, very careful about that. So here when we are talking about karma yoga, the pleasure of God is to be taken into account, and the permission of God is also to be taken into account. If you simply do karma yoga and you be free and going back to Godhead, that is not karma yoga, the understanding of karma yoga. That is the understanding of karma mimamsa. You do your karma and you get the result. No. You do the karma to be free of the result. That is karma yoga. Okay. So that's how we understand the whole concept. Otherwise, it is karma mimamsa, which is also in the New Age term. The New Age term, like you understand New Age philosophies? Okay, the New Age philosophies, just like the law of manifestation, Reiki, then what do you call that?
Pranic healing.
Pranic healing is there. Pranic healing is the weaker one. I was looking for Lama Fera. Okay, they're the most stronger ones. Okay, so all of them, these are basically New Age philosophies. So basically derivatives of Buddhism. Okay, or I will say the rebels of Buddhism. Okay, so yeah, the rebels of Buddhism. So this, okay, they have taken shamanism. Okay, shamanism also to a large extent. That's basically coming from Australia and not Australia, Africa and South America. Okay, these are all part of the New Age philosophy, which we see our young generation they are very much attracted by these. They're like books. There are so many gurus who are teaching this. So there they teach something called fatalism. Fatalism or fait accompli. Okay? That means you have done something, it's not going to come back. It's like you must have a result, which basically takes away the concept of free will. It is karma yoga only when it is interwoven with free will. If you remove the free will, element of free will, you cannot perform karma yoga. Okay? Because any living entity is, with his every breath of his, is performing karma, not karma yoga. See? With every breath, any living entity is performing karma. So, but if you remove the understanding or the concept of free will, there's no way one can move towards karma yoga. He can never be free from karma because there's no free will. See, that's why our philosophy is not fatalism. Okay, so the idea is not that there's the concept of samsara is there, and then that you must die first to get the result. Okay, in a karma kanda, if you want the results, big results, not the small results, the big results. What is the big result of karma kanda? What is a very substantial result you can get from karma kanda? The bigger ones. What do you get from karma kanda? Big ones. Real big ones.
Elevation to heavenly planets.
Yes, but for that you have to die first. But for you to have to die first, right? Okay. All right. Ashtasiddhis. Most of the Ashtasiddhis. Okay. In the fullest realm of the Ashtasiddhis, you might not get in this body. To go to another body. The body of the yogi, who is possibly staying in Maharlok, Tapolok, Janalok. Die first. See, even to go to hell, you have to die first. Remember point. So accept bhakti for any path, you have to die first. You want to merge into Brahma? Jnana Marg? Jnana Marg, you want to merge into the Brahma, right? The Brahma Jyoti. That's the Jnana Marg is. Die first. See? Except for Bhakti Yoga, any other place, you have to die first. That is the idea of fatalism. So we are not a death cult. Practitioners of Bhakti Yoga are not death cults. For you to die first in order to get the result. You can get the result here and now. Even the highest attainable target of Bhakti, Krishna Prem, can be availed here and now while being in the body. That is called Jivan Mukti. Then to attain Krishna, you don't have to die and go to Guru Vrindavan. You can attain Krishna while being in the body. And when the time comes, you leave the body and go to Guru Vrindavan. Fine? Okay. Pandit Gadadhar Prabhu. Go on.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Though it's a bit confusing to understand the death matters that you just said. So, Prabhuji, my question related to this. So, as you said that for any of the yoga practices that we did, we need to discard this body and will attain something else. Na? So, likewise, and you also stated that to have Krishna Prem, we can achieve that in this body itself. but eventually we need to die and go back to Godhead. So what that principle is all about is this soul reaching there, right? So we need to
Yes.
discard this body and we have to go to Golok Vrindavan. So is
Yeah,
it
because
this the same
go on.
philosophy?
No. I'm saying, see, the point is the fruit of bhakti. That is not saying that you have to die first and then you'll get it. See, that can be very like that can produce much insecurity. That I have to die first and then only I will get. What if I don't get it? I leave the body also, I've died also, and then I didn't reach heaven. Then what? You see? Now Maya Marina Ram. Then what? So that's the point. So for any other process, you have to die first. That's the only difference. And bhakti, you will get it while you can still get it. And then you're assured it is with me. Now, even if I die, I'm not going to lose it. See, if in a karma kanda, somebody gives you, say, for example, you get a letter from Lord Indra. Welcome. It's like you get a, just like you get a invitation card for marriage, with RSVP. Okay. Respondere s'il vous plaît. Okay. So that was it. That's respondere s'il vous plaît is French. Punjabi is Ron sare vyar pucho. Okay. So there are different things. But the point is, if you are getting at something like that, so you can be rest assured, but there's only bhakti, you have prema, it's possible. All right, Daya Mataji.
And Prabhuji, I have one another question, Prabhuji. So Prabhuji, Karma Yoga, no, not the follow-up one, but the text 50 states that it says that a man engaged in devotional service rids himself of both good and bad reactions even in this life. Therefore, strive for yoga, which is the art of all work. And in the purport, Srila Prabhupada ji mentioned something about related to Krishna consciousness as well. So Prabhuji,
yes.
how to understand this thing? The Karma Yoga is okay. So in layman language, if you want to understand what is Karma Yoga is basically doing everything and keeping Krishna in center. Is it?
See, we will clarify these things more in the yoga ladder. If I bring that in now, I don't know how much like it might end up. But anyway, just to satisfy you, because otherwise, again, same thing is going to happen. You will be lurking somewhere else while we are discussing the topic. The end result of every every yoga is bhakti. What starts as karma yoga must find its conclusion in bhakti yoga. What starts as jnana yoga must find its conclusion in bhakti yoga. What starts as dhyana yoga must find its conclusion. If it doesn't, it remains karma yoga, jnana yoga, jnana yoga. It's like that. Okay. So that's what. So when the karma, 100% of karma yoga is bhakti yoga. 100% of jnana yoga is bhakti yoga. It's like that. So that's why at the end, everything looks like bhakti yoga. Because when it is starting, it looks different. Because it is different. When it ends, it culminates in, because the word is yoga. The word yoga here means to get attached to Krishna. Yukta may be yoga. That's bhakti. That's why you will see all the chapters, and that's one of the greatest criticism on Prabhupada's purports by the scholars. Okay? You must also know what are the criticisms against Prabhupada's Bhagavad Gita purports. Scholars say everywhere he uses Krishna, everywhere he uses Krishna consciousness. He's discussing Karma Yoga, Krishna consciousness, Jnana Yoga, Krishna consciousness, Ashtanga Yoga, Krishna consciousness, Bhakti Yoga, Krishna consciousness. What is this all about then? What is the meaning of having these different yogas? Yeah, the meaning of every different yogas is you culminate in Bhakti Yoga. That's what Krishna wants. Okay.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Now I understood the concept. Yes, thank you.
Thank you. You're welcome. Dayamaji, go on.
Hare Krishna. Prabhuji, like you said, that for every other yoga, we have to die first. Then I had heard this for bhakti yoga, if your bhakti is not completed, you have to take birth again and
Yeah,
again.
yes,
So then we are dying
that's
in
the
that case
point.
too, na?
Yeah, they're dying that goes too. But that is the difference, no? That you can complete bhakti yoga in this lifetime. If you don't complete, then you do that. But in other yoga systems, even if you do that, if you complete the stage, for getting the result, you have to die first.
Okay.
Get the result, you have to die first. Your karma kanda business is finished. Whatever has been expected of you, you have done it. Now you are waiting for the result. Die first, and then you will be promoted to Swarga Loka. Die first, you can be promoted to the position of Indra. Die first, you can be promoted to the position of Brahma even. Die first. You cannot become Brahma in this lifetime. But
Okay.
in Bhakti Yoga, if you reach that perfection, you can become a Gopi, Manjari, Sakha, whatever in this lifetime. You don't look like a Sakha, Manjari, Gopi, but within you it has developed. That's how it is. Okay. Don't become a Gopi Manjari Sakha by like dressing like a Gopi Manjari. You look like more like a fool, okay, than anything else. You see how Krishna dresses in you see how Krishna dresses in the temple? Have you noticed the dresses of Krishna? What do you think? How would you look like? Any of us look like if we attempt to dress that way? You see, we
Different.
look like a fool. Yeah, people will possibly stone us.
Mhm.
So that's only for Krishna. Okay, okay. Go on, Harshika. Go on.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. I I have one question. Why did you introduce the idea of fatalism to this verse number 2.51?
Yeah, because we are talking about karma, karma kanda, karma yoga, karma mimamsa. The idea of fatalism is coming from karma mimamsa. That's why. The idea of fatalism is exactly karma mimamsa. And we must know how the old wine is packaged in new bottles. You don't know that, you'll be the victim. Unless and until you train the child, it's like how children in good schools are taught about their protection. That's called no go tell. Good touch, bad touch. If a child is touched inappropriately, he is told to say no. And after that saying no, you go from that place. And you just don't go, you tell. If you don't do that, you will be possibly abused. So it is the duty of the parents to teach them. Similarly, it is the duty of the Krishna conscious preacher to tell their students how they can be victimized in the name of Krishna. But they will be talking about karma and they will be talking about karma mimamsa and tell you that this is karma yoga. Were you there yesterday, part of the class, where we were discussing 247? Harshika Maji, were we there yesterday?
Yes, I was there.
Yeah, that's what they say. कर्म करे जाओ, फल की चिंता मत करो.
Yes.
भाष्यका माजी को मरवाने वाली बात है. That is not what Krishna says. It says you have a right over karma, not right over the fruits. It's completely different from what they say. Similarly, it looks like fatalism. It is not. It's a completely different genie. All right, because what happens, if You are a medical student, right? Ashika Maji?
Yes.
Oh, good, good. That will help. Say for example, in our like high school, all of us learn biology, right? And we read human anatomy, correct? All of us know the human anatomy, how human anatomy works, asexual reproduction, sexual reproduction, pollination, everything we read. And that's a subject
Yes.
class. We have got diagrams in the books without which we cannot understand human anatomy, right? Okay. And we score nicely, we score good in biology, then we may end up like you as an MBBS student, right? Now what happens? What happened? Tell me what will happen if the same subject is introduced to a 7-year-old kid, okay? And introduced in the form of pornographic videos. What would happen to him? His conception of biology is destroyed for this lifetime. His conception of anatomy will be distorted beyond recognition. Be able to become a biology student. And he dare not become an MBBS doctor. If he does, you will find him having cases of molestation and child abuse. Because his conception has been destroyed long ago. So before that happens, you must teach him human anatomy. Therefore, before your conception is destroyed, or like it's convoluted, you must know the differences. What is karma yoga? What is karma kanda? What is karma mimamsa? And what is karma vikarma akarma? That's why Bhagavad Gita is called the ABCD. If you get the basics right, you won't be, you won't be waylaid. You won't be shortchanged. That's why these concepts are also discussed alongside. Okay. Is it useful, Ashika Maji? Shall we move ahead?
Yes.
Okay, go on.
Thank you.
Vaibhavi
Hare
Mataji?
Krishna, Prabhuji. I have a question.
Oh, now Vaibhavi Mataji herself has a question. Okay, if you do you think we can hold your question for 2 more verses and then we will have your question?
Yes,
Read
Prabhuji.
on.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Read on. Don't lose your
Uh,
question, by the way.
Sure, Prabhuji.
Go
When
on.
your intelligence has passed out of the dense forest of delusion, you shall become indifferent to all that has been heard and all that is to be heard.
See? So the past and the future. You are talking about eternity. Talking about eternity. This is just a dense forest of that's just an analogy, right? Dense forest is an analogy. It's talking about delusion. Okay? So, all right. Now, last one. That's why here you see Prabhupada is discussing, Prabhupada is quoting Madhavendra Puri. There's a very advanced verse of Madhavendra Puri here. That is from Padyavali, quoted by Rupa Goswami. So this is why that's what's saying the stage actually is compared when, like you see, from the delusion you become indifferent. That means you are entering into Bhav Bhakti. This is the stage when they are entering not into Prema Bhakti, but the stage of Bhav Bhakti from Sadhana Bhakti. This is what happens. This verse is an indication how you are moving from Sadhana Bhakti to Bhav Bhakti actually. Although you may say, Prabhu, wait a minute, weren't you discussing Karma Yoga? Yes, we were discussing Karma Yoga. But as I said, like the 100% of Karma Yoga is Bhakti Yoga. So here, Krishna is giving that indication. This is what happens. Srotavyasya Shrutasya. Okay. So there he is talking about, you see, and Madhavendra Puri is saying My prayers 3 times a day, all glory to you. That means the Sandhya Vandana, that means the chanting of the Gayatri mantras. You see, please excuse. Why would you say so? Because whenever I see, I can only think of Krishna. You see, thereby I can still free myself of sinful bondage. Always remember Krishna, never forget Krishna. When you get to that, this is the onset of Bhav Bhakti. All right, let's go to verse number 53 and then take up the question of Vaibhavi Mataji. Yeah.
When your
Go
mind is
on.
no longer disturbed by the flowery language of the Vedas, and when it remains fixed in the trance of self-realization, then you will have attained the divine consciousness.
You see. Again, as Krishna said, Traiguna Vishya Veda, Nistaiguna Bhavarjuna. Now, again, Krishna is saying, not disturbed by the flowery language of the Vedas. I didn't say not the flowery language of the Vedanta. Okay? Flowery language of the Vedas, not Vedanta. Remember, Bhagavad Gita is part of the Vedanta. Okay? Okay, go on. Vaibhavi Mataji, you had a question and then maybe.
Yes,
Please.
Prabhuji, in verse 51, yesterday we discussed that on this planet, people can be liberated
Yes.
from their miseries. But in the
Yeah.
purport, the first line says the liberated living entities belong to that place where there are no material miseries. So, being on this planet, how can one be liberated from all the miseries? Because we are, anyways, bound to have miseries. Could you please help me with the understanding of this?
Yeah. It's a very good question, actually. See, you have to, again, see, because we are learning Bhagavad Gita, so Bhagavad Gita means a lot of conceptions. We are being introduced to conceptions, different concepts. And then these concepts will gradually build up. Okay? There is a concept that this is another thing. Spiritual world. Write down these 3 things first with yourself. Okay, just write these things, 3 things down, and in due course of time, you will always encounter these things. One is called spiritual world. Okay? One is called spiritual plane. Plane. Spiritual plane. And the third concept is spiritual planet. Okay. These are 3 things. Okay. Versus, like opposed to that, material world. Okay. Material planets and material consciousness. All right. Okay. Consciousness thing, material plane. Sorry, not consciousness. Consciousness is, I'm sorry. Please, please correct. Yeah, I'm correcting it. Material plane. Okay. Now, a person can be in a material planet, which is a material plane. Sorry. Okay, it's a material planet. Sorry, he's in a material planet, which is part of the material world. Fair enough? Okay. The material planet is a part of his material world, but he can, by execution of yoga, which either means bhakti yoga, karma yoga, jnana yoga, dhyana yoga, any form of yoga, have connection to the spiritual world. Okay. When a person sitting in a material planet inside the material world is connecting to the spiritual world, he is said to be in a spiritual plane. All right. I'm sitting in Delhi. It's like I'm sitting in Mayapur. Okay. Somebody sitting in Delhi. Somebody sitting in Hyderabad. Okay. Somebody sitting in Karachi. Okay. They're sitting in the respective places, but you may be in spiritual plane. The plane or the consciousness is spiritual. The physical place where you are sitting is material. Okay. Just like myself, right now I'm sitting in Shidham Mayapur, which is a spiritual world, part of the spiritual world. But I'm sitting in the spiritual part of the spiritual world, but I'm thinking about 50 things, which is in the part of the material plane. I'm sitting in the spiritual world, but I'm on the material plane. Factual example. And you are sitting in the material world, but you are on the spiritual plane. Okay. Now, spiritual world means it also includes spiritual planets, right? One such spiritual planet is called Golok Vrindavan. When we say, okay, or they say that he has gone back to the spiritual world. Okay. There's a very big place up out there. Okay. Everybody is not going to the same place. And you say we have gone back home, back to Godhead, and Prabhupada is writing in the previous verse. It's a very big place up there. Okay. Even by material calculation, it says that is 3 times the material world. Okay. But actually that calculation is not a mathematical calculation. Why? Because the material world, is the material world measurable or immeasurable? Microphones, everyone's microphone is turned off. Please turn on the microphone. The material, immeasurable.
Immeasurable.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, okay, immeasurable. Can we say that the material world is unlimited or infinite?
No.
Infinite. No?
Is it?
It's finite? I'm just asking.
We have probably infinite. Yes.
Infinite?
Yes.
Who created the material world?
Krishna, God,
God. Is he infinite or finite?
infinite,
So is his creation infinite or finite?
infinite.
Okay? Let's settle that. Let's settle that first. Now come back to the spiritual world. Is spiritual world finite or infinite?
Infinite,
Infinite.
Infinite. So now use your mathematics. 3 into infinite. 3 multiplied by infinite. What does that lead to?
infinite,
Infinite only.
So what is the meaning of saying 3 times the material world? And we say the spiritual world is 3 times the material world is anyways infinite. And even if you say 3 into infinite, it is still infinite. Okay. It's only to, like to satisfy those brains which generally are very calculative, which generally don't get satisfied easily. That's why we give this kind of calculations. So, okay, material world is the spiritual world is three times the material world. Oh, it's very big. Because we cannot, like, our human brain is not able to accept the concept of infinite. You understand infinite to be very big? No. No. Very big is a very different thing. Infinite is a different thing. When you say time, it's one element. We use it in physics, right? Okay. Our formulas are based on time. But there's another thing called eternality, which is the first principle of spiritual life. Sat, Chit, Anand, Sat. It is not infinite time. It is a different animal. It's a different element. So time is an element. So in the periodic table, if you add time as part of the periodic table, you have to add eternity as part of the periodic table. Similarly, when you say finite, that means measurement is part of one thing. But when you say infinite, that's why you use that symbol. It doesn't say that 10 raised to the power of something, something, something. It's still something, something, something. But when you use the term infinite, settle. Okay, that's how we see the material world and the spiritual world. So when we say a person has gone back to Godhead, remember he has gone to 3 into infinite, basically infinite. So you can be in the material world and still have an infinite consciousness, connection to that infinite consciousness. So then you are on the spiritual plane. I am sitting in the spiritual world right now in Sridham Mayapur, but I am full of this material consciousness because I am in the material plane, sitting over here. So both is possible. Okay, fair enough. So now let's summarize the whole thing, what we were discussing up till now. Let me take you back so that we finish this chapter possibly today. I believe we must. All good things must come to an end. Okay. So, such as chapter 2. Okay. So you see here, this is I'm just referring to your handbook. This was the breakup. Okay. As I said, we were showing Jnana or Sankhya. Then we discussed Karma Kanda. Okay, yesterday. Then we went on to discuss Karma and Buddhi Yoga. Okay. And now we will discuss Sthita Pragya and Karma Yoga's comparison. Both things. Okay. Actually, we will be discussing Sthita Pragya first. But okay, let's go stage by stage. So you see here. Sorry, my bad. Yeah, here, you see. So now you will be discussing Sthita Pragya. So let's summarize with what we have done till now. Here. Okay. Vaibhavi Maji, can you read this for us? This part?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Go on.
Karma, fight but without any reaction. 39:53. Karma and Gyan are combined together to engage the transcendentalist in work with knowledge. One important theme in Bhagavad Gita is the question whether to renounce work and use one's intelligence to discriminate between spirit and matter or to work without attachment to the fruits. This question will be asked by Arjun in the beginning of the 3rd, 5th, and 18th chapters. Krishna gives a brief explanation of Buddhi Yoga, working without attachment to the fruits. Krishna also shows how attachment to sense enjoyment and material opulence, as given in the Karma Kanda section of the Vedas, is an obstacle to determination in devotional service. He advises Arjuna to transcend the 3 modes and perform prescribed duties without attachment to the fruits. By Buddhi Yoga, one becomes indifferent to the Vedic rituals, gains freedom from these sinful reactions, and attains liberation from the cycle of the birth and death. Lord Krishna thus defeats Arjuna's argument of fear of sinful reactions.
That is Krishna's strategy. Comprehensively defeating because he used Shastra. Arjun used Shastra. So he also referred back to those Shastras and stated the relative position of those Shastras. And how Vedic Karma Kanda can not give you release from material attachment. And therefore, how to get out of this three mode of material nature? By performing Buddhi Yoga, or what we call Karma Yoga. Okay, that's what it is. Good. Yes, Harshika Maji, you hand your hand up? Or you have your hand up constantly or what? Not sure. Okay. So now let's move to Sthita Prajna. Okay. The question of Arjuna. Sthita Prajna Saka Bhasha Samadhi Sthita Keshava. Sthitadhi Kim Prabhasheta. Sthitadhi Muni. Okay. Kim Ashish Kam Asita Vrajeta Kim. So many questions. So many questions Arjuna is asking, and Krishna would be answering these questions. Okay. Volunteer. I need another volunteer to read it out for us. Okay, Shubham Prabhu, go on.
Arjuna said, "O Krishna, what are the symptoms of one whose consciousness is thus merged in transcendence? How does he speak? And what is his language? How does he sit?
4.
And how does he walk?"
5. Okay. So he has asked 5 questions in one question. Okay. That's what Arjuna has done. 5 in one question. Okay. It's just like I'm missing Sunday ice cream. That's how they do it. 5 in 1. You see, that's how they do it. So yeah. So now you see. So you will see the answers in 55, 56, 57, 58 to 63. Here, wait. Found it? Is it on your screen? Okay. That was the question he asked in 54. In 55, he's talking about symptoms. 56 to 57, speech. How he sits. 60, 58 to 63. How he walks. 64 to 72. Remember, the walking is not our walking. The speaking is not our speaking. The sitting is not our sitting. The question is a philosophical question. This question is an allegorical question. Okay? It's not a literal question. Okay? So don't be, because otherwise you will feel, oh, it's not talking about in sitting. What is sitting? What is talking? What's he talking about? Okay? It's a philosophical question. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha. Go on, Shubham Prabhu.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, "O Parth, when a man gives up all varieties of desire for sense gratification, which arises from material concussion, and when his mind, thus purified, finds satisfaction in the self alone, then he is said to be in pure transcendental consciousness."
See, it's a very complicated thing. If you read the translation, it's very complicated. What is this going on? What's Sthita Pragya? What did he ask? And how is Arjuna respond? What did Krishna ask and how, what did Arjuna ask and how is Krishna responding to this? It's like flying over my little head. Okay. So yeah, it's understood because generally, because when we talk about in this language is full of Shankhya also. So this is how it works. Okay. It's just like when Arjuna was speaking and then Krishna said that you're speaking of learned words, but you're looking for basically what you're speaking of, speaking like a fool. So, but actually here, if I simplify your word, Sthita Pragya actually means a person in transcendental consciousness. Okay. I'm just trying to make your life easy. I purposefully showed you that. Wait. I think I did something. Where am I? Yeah. So where I purposefully asked you to read this because I knew that you will be confused. Because the question has been asked from an intellectual platform. And the answer has also been given from that intellectual platform. The intellect of Arjuna versus the intellect of Krishna. That's why the answer is apparently seems to be very confusing. But actually, Krishna is describing a person in transcendental consciousness, because that's what Arjuna asked. What are the symptoms of a person in transcendental consciousness? That is called Sthita Prajna. Okay? Is it okay? And the answer which he is giving now is basically that he's such a person, he is cognizant of his spiritual identity. That means he's talking about a Swarup Siddha person, because that's what he asked. What is a person who is Swarup Siddha? Swarup Siddha means he's on the stage of prema, beyond liberation. Okay. So he knows the difference, his own identity, and how he's separate from matter. Okay. When he says I, he's not talking about the body. There is no my. He says I without the my. Because my means attachment. See? So that kind of person. So that's why this definition looks very complicated. He's not interested in material pleasure. That goes without saying. Okay. Because the I is without mind. He has complete control over his senses. Okay. And with this controlled senses, also he can control his mind and intelligence. And therefore that thing is fixed on the Supreme. I belong to Krishna. There's no mind. I belong to Krishna. Okay. He is unaffected by these material dual, certainly. Okay. This doesn't unaffected. Doesn't mean that it doesn't hit him. It hits him, but is not affected. Yesterday, somebody asked that question towards the end of the class, that what happens to a person if he is spiritually advanced? Doesn't he experiences the material dualities, happiness, sadness, like heat, cold, all the dualities, okay, lying and cheating? No. Yeah, he experiences all of them, but is not affected by these two things. And what is that affected? That affected is that his consciousness or determination towards Krishna is not affected. Everything else is affected. If the advanced, very highly advanced devotee is run over by a car and is hospitalized and he has got half a dozen broken bones, so certainly his body is terribly affected. But his consciousness for Krishna is not affected. That's all, and that's it. And no more of that. He is bleeding. Therefore, he is yelling and shouting and crying also. But despite that, he hasn't forgotten Krishna. How many of you have heard the past time? Let me see. When Prabhupada was in Delhi, before he started ISKCON, he was in Delhi and he was hit by a bull. You heard that, right? Okay, very good. Shubham Prabhu, you heard of that. Good. So when Prabhupada, just think about it. When Prabhupada was hit by the bull, was Prabhupada hurt? What do you think? What's your opinion? When Prabhupada was hit by the bull, was he hurt?
Yes.
Yes. Yes. But he was a spiritual personality. How can I be hurt? See? How can Prabhupada be hurt? And he is a spiritual personality. He is a Nitya Siddha. What do you think? How can he be hurt? He's a spiritual personality, right? Spiritual
So
personality, can he be hurt?
Bodily,
yes,
he can
Prabhuji.
be.
So
Go on.
Bodily, he
the
can be, Prabhuji.
Bodily can be hurt. But he knows I am not this body.
That is his consciousness.
Oh. Yeah. But the body is hurt, right?
yes, though he
When
has
Krishna,
a transcendental
when
body, but
Krishna,
still got hurt.
when Krishna is hurt by the arrows of Bhishma, when Krishna was hurt by the head by the arrows of Bhishma in Kurukshetra war, was he bleeding?
Yes, bleeding.
Yes, no,
Yes,
maybe.
Yeah.
Yes, he's
yes,
bleeding.
yes, yes.
But Krishna is Krishna, God. How can God bleed?
To give us
Krishna is
lesson.
Akhil Rasamrita Putri. Oh, to give us lesson. Oh, yes, Dayamaji. To give us lesson. Otherwise, he was not bleeding, right? So give us lesson, he was bleeding. Right? You fell into my trap, Dayamaji. Huh? That is actually he was not bleeding, but to give us lesson, he was bleeding.
Can be.
Yeah, I can extend the same argument. Prabhupada was not hurt, but to give us lesson, he was hurt.
No, effect was not there, but
He was bleeding. He was hurt. It's a dangerous proposition. When we have utopian ideas about spirituality. These are called utopian ideas about spirituality. Very dangerous. See? That, spiritual person must not be having these things. Very natural question will come. Why was Prabhupada wasting his time and like in front of the Scindia ship company? Why was he begging to that Morarji, Scindia, what was the Sumati Morarji? He was a spiritual personality, right? He could fly in the sky. What is the need of him traveling? You see? These are the utopian understandings about spiritual life, spiritual persons. Once you are victimized by them, you can very easily be cheated. These are actually material idea conceptions of a spiritual personality, about a spiritual personality. The opposite of material life is material life. The opposite of material life is always material life. Spiritual life is a completely different ball game. It has got nothing to do with material life. So it's like the similarly. So these conceptions, that's why these are the basic conceptions, must be clarified. And that's why we are discussing here. That's why Arjuna was very intelligently asked that question. Prabhu, tell me, Krishna, please tell me, what is a spiritual personality like? And you see, Prabhu, Krishna is not going to give you any of these, not going to ratify any of these misconceptions. Oh, spiritual person does not feel the pain. No, spiritual person is not affected by the pain. And what is not affected is spiritual consciousness. Everything else works the same. Everything else works the same. Okay. Jyotimaji, go on. couple of questions and we
Uh,
have to move.
yes, Prabhuji, they get hurt and like bleeding, everything externally is exactly the same. Pain is also the same, but what one I was wondering was like the amount of pain exactly. Because when we see a normal person, if they meet with an accident, the amount of pain they suffer, they almost undergo, like they become unconscious. Sometimes they are not able to, even they lose their memory also. They, so many things happens. But in case of great devotees, they externally everything happens similar, and pain also they suffer, but all these reactions to pain is not to that extent.
Thank you for the question, actually. I'm not laughing at you. Don't worry about it. Okay, I'm just smiling. It's because it happens like that. This is how you progress. Pain and pleasure cannot be legislated. Neither pain and pleasure can be measured. Till now, I'm not aware. There are so many doctors out here. There's Jia out here. There is Harshika out here. I know. There's Daya out here. At least she's in part of the lab. Who else is our MBBS students? Usha is there, DPT student. Palak is there. So many okay, so many. So are you aware of any gadget which can measure pain or pleasure till now? Any medical gadget? Oh, Daya is there. She's already graduated as a doctor. So is there any? No, so far I don't, at least I'm not aware of. Please be on the lookout if you find that any. So yeah. So there's no way you can measure as of now. There's no way. Then maybe in future they might come up with a gadget which can measure the pain or pleasure. But as of now, it is very difficult to exactly calculate either in the analog formula or a digital formula, like how much pleasure one gets when what eats a golgappa. Depends. You see, it's very difficult. Similarly, the pain. We get patients like who is profusely bleeding and he's completely all right. He still he can say, yeah, you can. I don't have anesthesia. Go without anesthesia. I can tolerate that. And there are people like me. Jiyamaji, what is the term to those who are very much afraid of blood? Said that thing. It's like you have got hydrophobia. Somebody is scared of water. Even the term for like those who are scared of blood. So you see even little blood, then
Yes,
he will pass
Prabhuji.
away. Forgot
Hemophobia,
the term. Even I
hemophobia.
forgot that term. Hemophobia, exactly. And even a little bit of blood, if you see, will pass out. Sorry, not pass away, pass out. So it's very subjective. It's very subjective. That's got nothing to do with the spiritual consciousness. It's got nothing to do with spiritual consciousness.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Okay.
Thank
Thank you. All right, so now we must move ahead, and we are now talking about a Swarup Siddha person. Okay, that's why we discussed this in great detail. So whatever is going to come, it's about a Swarup Siddha person. That is not talking about a sadhaka. Okay, so don't get confused. And more than that, don't get depressed. If you see the list and you don't find yourself amongst those, don't be discouraged because you are not one of them. You are a practitioner. It's not talking about you. Okay. Read on page number 50, 56, verse number 56. Shubham Prabhu, go on.
One who is not disturbed in mind even amidst the threefold misery or elated when there is happiness, and who is free from attachment, fear, and anger is called a sage of steady mind.
You see, this is your CBA question. Sthitadi Muni. Who is the Sthitadi Muni? You see, Sthitadi Muni Ruchate. So he is the Sthitadi Muni, and it is not you. Don't worry. And you don't generally come across a Sthitadi Muni in ISKCON also. Okay? So don't be while you can always be on the lookout of Sthitadi Munis in ISKCON, but they are an endangered and rare species. They are not just a rare species, but they are also an endangered species. Okay, an endangered species. Okay, let's move ahead. '57.
In the material world, one who is unaffected by whatever good or evil he may obtain, neither praising it nor
Despising.
despising it, is firmly fixed in the imperfect knowledge.
You see, these are practically impossible statements. Okay. So he is a pragya, you see. Pragya pratishtita. I was just wondering, yes, that's the word. Tasya pragya pratishtita. Pragya. Pra means specific and gya means knowledge. Perfect knowledge, pragya. These are pragya pratishtita people. This is another quality of a Swarup Siddha person. These are all Swarup Siddha persons. And whatever he, see, Bhagavad Gita is giving you, won't give you much examples. Bhagavad Gita might only gave only one example of such a person. It will come, like you will read that. And that is Janak Maharaj. Of all the 12 Mahajans, Bhagavad Gita will only mention Janaka as one of these examples. Bhagavad Gita is not a book for giving examples. You want to read the examples and case studies? That is the Bhagavatam. You want to understand the concept? That's Bhagavad Gita. Okay. All right. Go on, 58.
One who is able to withdraw his senses from sense objects as the tortoise withdraws its limbs within the shell is firmly fixed in perfect consciousness.
You see, he is giving analogies. Krishna is giving analogies. Like the tortoise is drawing its limbs within the shell. But that's a gross activity. That's a gross activity. See, tortoise is not a Sthitadi Muni. Okay? Never confuse tortoise with the Sthitadi Muni. Because tortoise can withdraw its limbs. I cannot withdraw my limbs. Therefore, tortoise is a Sthiti Muni. I am not a Sthitadi Muni. Okay? So it happens. You see, no, I see a lot of the devotees smiling, which is good. Like more smiles is good. It's always good. But you know what happens when, let me up the ante and you will understand what I'm getting at. Okay. Never take the analogies literally. Okay. To understand the analogy, you have to be more sharp, actually. Okay. Let me recite a verse before you. Okay. And tell me your thoughts about it. Not a difficult verse. Not a difficult verse. Mostly you must have heard this verse. Tell me those who haven't never heard this verse. Okay. After I recite the verse, tell me if you have never heard this verse. Okay. Trinadapi sunichena taruriva sahishnuna amanina manadena kirtaniya sadahari. Devotees who have never heard this verse. There may be people here. Yeah, Daya, yeah, okay, fine. Yeah, Tulsi, good. Okay. So this is, okay, Devika, yeah. So I've never heard this verse. Okay, fine. That's okay. I was expecting there were people. So except three devotees, okay. Let's discuss the verse. Okay. It says that the devotee is supposed to be more humbler than the blade of grass. And he is to be more tolerant than a tree. And he should be always giving honor to everyone else while not seeking personal honor for oneself. Okay? All right? Fair enough? That's the translation and those who know that. Okay. Now, this is also a similar example. Withdraw the senses like that of a tortoise. Okay. So what is the goal of life?
Krishna Prem.
Is Krishna Prem? Okay. So that's the goal of life. Okay, fine. That's the goal of life. Okay, fine. So my question is, how many of us would want to develop this quality of humility, tolerance, giving respect and not taking respect, and this quality what is given in Bhagavad Gita, to withdraw, ability to withdraw your senses? Okay, fine. So now the question is, the tortoise is already able to do that, and the grass is already humbler than me. The tree is more tolerant than me. Okay. So what's happening out there then? I don't see the grasses like vanishing and going to back to Godhead. Neither I see the trees being vanishing overnight, going back to Godhead. And I still see tortoises in the rivers. Din Pavani Maji. Din Pavani Maji is a Bhakti Bible student. Come on.
Because our object is we have to do Kirtana Sadahari.
Right.
For doing Kirtana Sadahari, we have to do these all things.
Everything else comes later. So the point is this, the point is not to, the target is not to withdraw our senses. The target is to attain Krishna Prem, and on that path,
Byproduct.
yes, this might happen. But if you spend all your energy and all your life's goal is to withdraw your senses, God knows and God forbid, you might not end up like a tortoise next lifetime. Okay. So that's what we have to understand. So these analogies are there to help us along the way. These are not the targets. Okay. But these are helpful tools. Okay. And one can measure one's advancement through these things. That's a savior, basically. All right.
Prabhuji,
Go
can we,
on.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, can
Yes.
we relate this from the previous lecture we had yesterday, that how can we judge someone's advancement in Krishna consciousness?
Exactly. Exactly.
I got my answer.
Prabhupada never said in any of his, I didn't even find even one single statement, and I can challenge that. Anybody who has studied Prabhupada's books, I can challenge him. You cannot show even one single statement where Prabhupada says, thou should not judge. Rather, I can show at least A4 size, 26 pages statements Prabhupada says to judge. Because without judging, you won't advance. That kind of judgment, when the people talk about not to judge, because they don't want themselves to be judged. That's what we call in political language, quid pro quo. Quid pro quo means I scratch your back, you scratch mine. Okay. That's a quid pro quo agreement. But a Madhyam Adhikari cannot come to the stage and is not considered Madhyam Adhikari unless and until he has the ability to judge four things. God, his devotees, the innocents, and the envious. With God, he is supposed to develop love. With his devotees, he is supposed to make friendship. With the innocent, he is supposed to preach. And the envious, he is supposed to maintain distance. If he is not able to judge somebody, this is envious. This is a devotee. This is an innocent. He will remain a neophyte. Because the neophyte cannot judge these things. Neophyte knows only one thing. Actually, two things. He knows God and he knows his guru. That's all. He doesn't know anybody else. Doesn't care for anybody else. Okay. That's why from a neophyte you will hear, my guru is the only guru. My guru is Prabhupada's favorite disciple. My guru is the only guru whom Prabhupada gave the permission to initiate. My guru Prabhupada gave this Swarup Siddhi or something, you know. To my guru Prabhupada said you are going back to Godhead. That's like he only knows Krishna and he only knows his guru. That's neophyte. He doesn't know how to judge. All right, let's move. Why Mataji? I desperately
So
want to
sorry,
move.
Prabhuji, just
No, please go
light
on.
one question. Prabhuji, doesn't judgment bring ego in us? If
Yeah,
we are judging somebody,
yeah,
how to
yeah.
deal with that negative ego, or
Well, there
how
are
to deal with it?
other devotees who's going to size you up. Don't worry about that. You just have to be continuously in touch with devotees. That's all. Don't practice bhakti alone. That's called gem polishing. You see how gem is polished? All the gems are generally rough stones. Then they are put into one like this kind of bottle,
Mhm.
and then they are like it's just like a mixing. Each rough stone is going to polish the other one. At the end of the day, you have got gems. It's called devotee association. Okay, good. All right. So let's go to the next verse. Verse number 59. Very, very important verse. Vishya vinivartante nirarasya dehinam rasavarjam rasopiyasya param drishtva nivartate. Go on.
Though the embodied soul may be restricted from sense enjoyment, the taste for sense objects remains. But ceasing such engagements by experiencing a higher taste, he is fixed in consciousness.
See? So then he has to, who can experience a higher taste? The Uttamadhikari is experiencing a higher taste. And therefore he has seized these things. So whatever the Uttamadhikari is doing, okay, that is the target of the Kanishthadhikari and the Madhyamadhikari. Okay. The ecstasy of the Uttamadhikari is the target of the Kanishthadhikari, of the sadhaka. Okay. The natural position of the siddha is the target of the sadhaka. Siddhasya lakshanam yat syat sadhakanam sadhanam tat syat. This is quoted in Brihad Bhagavatam by Sanatana Goswami. Siddhasya lakshanam yat syat. Whatever are the qualities of the siddha, sadhakanam sadhanam lakshanam satsyat. So the target of the sadhakas are those qualities. He doesn't behave like the siddha. He aims for the siddha. Okay. If the sadhaka starts behaving like the siddha, that is called sahajiya. He aims like that. Right. Let's move ahead. Higher taste. Okay. That's the most common example, what we generally experience in our daily lives is when we gradually shift to prasadam. Generally, when we give up a non-vegetarian food, or things like that, or when we give up intoxication. So then this verse makes it makes sense to us. But actually, it has got a very higher sense. It's actually spoken in terms of the siddhas. But we can also take inspiration from the verse. Go on.
The senses are so strong and impetuous, O Arjun, that they forcibly carry away the mind even of a man of discrimination who is endeavoring to control them.
That's there. And Arjuna will understand that in the 6th chapter. Remember in the 1st chapter, Arjuna was telling that I want to become a yogi, I just want to become a mendicant, I just want to beg, and I just want to leave everything aside and go to the jungle. I don't want to fight. Remember that? Not long ago, right? You just wait for the 6th chapter and you will see that Krishna will introduce the yoga to him. That you sit in this one place, you meditate, you sit and stare at the tip of your nose and control your mind and all of that. You know how Arjuna will respond to that? Any idea how Arjuna is going to respond to that? Okay, Arjuna is going to. Oh, okay, Shubham, go on.
I think so. He would say it's too difficult for me.
Yeah, yeah, but he gave a specific analogy. He gave a specific analogy. He will give an analogy that I can control. Oh, okay. Karunamai Mataji, go on.
Hare Krishna
Well,
Prabhuji, he gave analogy. It is easier to control the wind, the air, but not to control the mind.
Yeah, I can control the wind. I can't control my mind. Just 6 chapters. See? So as who was talking about the false ego? Vaibhavi Mataji, right? So you see, false ego, that Arjuna also had a false ego. Now I can go to the forest, I can become a mendicant, I will leave everything else, I don't need anything else, I can become a beggar. Okay, now Krishna says, come on, welcome. Welcome to the life of the begging. This is how you started. I cannot do it. That's the case of most of the sadhakas. Most people in this world. When they're dejected, they start speaking all nonsense. That's why Krishna knew that he is all speaking all nonsense and he is going to give him that opportunity. Now Krishna is just keeping quiet, allowing him to speak. And when his time comes, and he will say, okay, fine, welcome, come. Let's try your hand on this. You wanted to become a beggar. See, in the same way, in this verse also, that's why it is there. So Krishna is saying, it is very difficult. Arjun, they forcibly carry your mind of discrimination. This is the theory. Okay. All right. Let's go to 61. Go on.
One who restrains his senses, keeping them under full control, and fixes his consciousness upon me, is known as a man of steady intelligence.
Another Sthitadi Muni. Another aspect of Sthitadi Muni. You see? Tasya pragya pradishchita. You see? Always you are getting pragya pradishchita. Always get Sthitadi. See, so many definition of pragya. It's like so many definition of yogis. Okay. So that's what you're finding it. Okay. These are all part of sadhana. They're all part of sadhana. These are the targets. That's why the 2nd chapter is the summary. Okay. 62. Now is how the mind works. You see, the cycle, the entire cycle is being described in 262 and 263. Go on.
While contemplating the objects of the senses, a person develops attachment for them, and from such attachment, lust develops, and from lust, anger arises.
Yes. Dhyayato Vishayan Pumsa Sangaste Supajayate Sanga Sanjayate Kama Krama Krodha Vijayate Krodha Bhavati Sammura Buddhi Sammohat Smriti Vibrama Buddhi Nasha Pranashyati. Read the second next translation.
From anger, complete delusion arises, and from the delusion, bewilderment of memory. When memory is bewildered, intelligence is lost, and when intelligence is lost, one falls down again into the material pool.
So 262, 263, these two verses I mean, forget your Bhakti Shastri. This should be like burned in our heads. These two verses, 62 to 63, should be like burned into our heads. Forget Bhakti Shastri. But this is the cycle. And the cycle is that the first one is the easiest. The subsequent ones are the more difficult parts. You see, it's just like gravity. It's just like gravity. So if you catch a ball when it is thrown immediately, like while it is like like the curvature, if you catch it up there, it doesn't have much force. But the lower you catch it, it comes with the full force because of the gravity. So that's why it's like I throw this and I catch it here, it's hardly anything. But it's coming from, like, say, for example, 800 meters above, and if I catch, I lose my hand because of gravity. So similarly, each subsequent step is more dangerous to tackle than the previous one. So it is easiest when we tackle it here while contemplating on the sense objects. This is the easiest part to tackle here, contemplating. If you are already contemplated and you have developed an attachment from them, it is a little difficult to control here, but control. A little more difficult and lust develops for that thing. And then, when from lust the anger arises, it becomes more difficult. How many? No. Please don't raise your hands. Please don't raise your hands. Okay, but I'm asking the question, but don't raise your hands. How many of you have challenges in controlling the anger? You see, don't raise your hands. I'm said don't raise your hands. Okay. How many of you have challenge controlling anger? You see, it's because of this, not because you have a challenge. No, you are already very late. You see, part like stage one gone. This is stage one gone. Stage two, you have already crossed. Stage three already crossed. You're on stage number 4. What is a stage 4 leukemia? What is stage 4 cancer? You see? Yeah, fatal. You see? Stage 4 cancer. It's like stage 4 cancer. Stage 1, very easy. Take some medicines, precaution, a little bit of chemotherapy, and you're done. Stage 2, then stage 3, and now you understand what is stage 4. Okay. So now is stage 4. Yes, that's why it becomes very difficult to control anger. But it is we are not done yet. We are not done yet. Okay. Now it comes to stage number 5. Delusion. What is delusion? Delusions of grandeur. You see, it's called delusion. Oh, I like, I'm very special. That is called delusion. I'm too special. Delusion. And from the delusion, bewilderment of memory. That is not a memory loss. It doesn't say loss of memory. It says bewilderment of memory. What that means? Bewilderment of memory means you forget your experiences. Forget the lessons you have learned from your experiences. This is the stage of overconfidence. No point. You forget history. You don't pay attention to history. You don't pay attention to others' examples, lessons learned. You don't care. You see? So when the memory is bewildered, in that stage, the intelligence is lost. As we say in Hindi, Vinash Kale Viparit Buddhi. This is that stage. It doesn't come suddenly. This is going through these stages. And when this happens, you fall down again into the material world. Fall down means what? Whatever spiritual progress you've made, you cannot take advantage of it anymore. It is not that you lose your spiritual progress, but you cannot take any advantage from it. It's just like you earned 5 crore, but your bank account is freezed. You cannot take out the money now. You have 5 crore. You can see it also. When you open your account on the internet, you can see it, 5 crores. Wow, mine. Cannot access. Frozen. Okay. So that's how it works. Where does the false ego kicks in? Okay. Where does the anger takes the better of you? Where the anger comes because of non-fulfillment of that lust for that particular thing. You see, it's all a chain. Okay. Important chain. That's why I said these two verses must be burned into your memory. Pandit Gadadhar Prabhu, go on.
Prabhuji, does that mean that externally a devotee will be chanting but he is not relishing the holy names, is it?
Yeah, of course, because like, see, when we are talking about the term devotee, you have to learn to differentiate this also. See, better use the word sadhaka devotees, practicing devotees. It becomes easy. You see, it's like now is like the hot season in Delhi. Well, hot season everywhere. What does mango look like?
Tempting and delicious.
Yeah, no, that's like what tastes like. How does a mango look like? How does a mango look like?
Yellow.
Yellow. Why? Mango are also, there are also green mangoes.
Yes. Both.
Yes. Okay. Then why did you like went for the yellow one? Why didn't the green doesn't come to your mind first?
Tempting.
Anyway.
Tempting.
How does how does coal look like? Coal. COAL. Coal.
Black.
What does coal look like?
Black.
Black when
Why?
we ignite and yellow.
Dusty.
Why? Diamonds are white. This is coal. Why didn't that came to your mind? This is called prima facie. Okay. Every object has got a primary impression attached to it. That's human psychology. Okay. Mango means yellow and coal means black. Similarly, that's the primary definition. Now, if we want to qualify that statement, that no, I'm looking for the mango to which I can make pickles out of. Oh, you need green mango. No. I was just talking about the gold which can be worn as a jewelry. Oh, you're talking about a diamond. You have to qualify that statement, right? Exactly. When you say devotee, the primary meaning of devotee is a person who is on the stage of bhava and above. If you want to qualify the statement to mean us, then you say sadhak bhakta, practicing devotee. And that's why the problem comes. When you read in the Bhagavad Gita or any book, a devotee does like this or that, and it's, oh, I am not one of them. Either the book is wrong and I am wrong. No. The book is not wrong. You are wrongly assuming you should be one of them. You have to come to that stage, not that you are on that stage. Okay. So when you see like that, when you don't have any false notions about yourself or the people around you, life becomes very easy. When you see devotees making stupid mistakes, you say, oh, he's not a devotee, he's a practicing devotee like me. I can excuse him. But if the Bhagavad Gita says that the devotee should be honest and he is not honest, then it's very difficult for me to forgive that person. Because I am expecting something which he is not. It's just another practicing devotee like me. Okay. So when you see the descriptions of devotee, and that's why Prabhupada is very careful in when he's using the term devotee. Otherwise, he will say one. One means it's for everybody. So yeah. Okay, let's go on. Let's is it satisfactory, Pandit Gadadhar Prabhu, or like you had something else to ask of?
No, I'm good, Prabhuji. I got my answer. Thank you.
Let's move ahead. Thank you. Shubham Prabhu, go on.
But a person free from all attachments and aversions and able to control his senses through regulative principles of freedom can obtain the complete mercy of the Lord.
Raga Dvesha Vimuktena. You see, that's why here it says aversion. Remember yesterday we were discussing what is the opposite of rag? Opposite of the term rag is not vairag, but dvesh. Remember we discussed that yesterday? The opposite of rag is not vairag. It's dvesh. Vairag has got nothing to do either with rag or dvesh. Attachment and aversion has got nothing to do with detachment. See, aversion. Has to be aversion. Detachment is different. All right. That's the principles of freedom. You see, regulative principles of freedom. Now comes the role of mercy. Mercy. Okay. Like that mercy is different from the French mercy. Merci beaucoup. Okay. Okay. All right. Read on.
For one thus satisfied in Krishna consciousness, thus the threefold miseries of material existence exist no longer. In such satisfied consciousness, one's intelligence is soon well established.
That's happening because of Prasade Sarva Dukkhanam. I think that's the verse. Yeah. Aninasopajayate. You see? So by the achievement of causeless mercy, actually this happens. It cannot happen before that. Actual misery goes away. The final round, if we can say that, of mercy. The final round of misery goes away by the achievement of the causeless mercy of the Lord. That means this is beyond sadhana. Sadhana can only help us so much. But after that kind of sadhana, we can expect achievement of causeless mercy of the Lord. That means sarva dukkhanam. Before that, dukkhanam. When we are performing sadhana bhakti, we can get freedom from misery. But when we get bhav bhakti, this is bhav bhakti. This is one of the symptoms of bhav bhakti. Sarva dukkha. Only in bhav bhakti all miseries. Whereas in sadhana bhakti, miseries. Okay, that's the difference. Okay, go on. Verse number 66.
One who is not connected with the Supreme in Krishna consciousness can have neither transcendental intelligence nor a steady mind, without which there is no possibility of peace. And how can there be any happiness without peace?
Kuta sukham. Without peace. Okay. So that's why there's no shanti means 0, 0. Peace means no misery, no happiness. 0, 0. That stage is the stage of Brahma realization. Shanti. Okay. Shanti is a spiritual concept. It's not a material concept. Shanti is a spiritual element. It's not a material element. Okay. That's why the Vedas always Om Shanti 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 Hi, because that is a spiritual concept. And that's why it is repeated twice. Sure. It's not a material concept. All right. You see, transcendental intelligence. Unless and until you don't have transcendental intelligence, there's no possibility of peace. Not intelligence, transcendental intelligence, not material intelligence. Okay. Let's move ahead. Oh, this is a very nice verse. This is a analogy. This is one of your analogies, which is part of your memory, like when you will be having the CBS. By the way, when you will be having the CBS, you will be having fill in the blanks for these analogies. Okay. You must memorize these analogies, and they will be part of the CBS as fill in the blanks. Daya Mataji, let us come finish this verses today. Let's finish this verses today. We just only have about 4 verses left. Go on.
As a strong wind sweeps away a boat on the water, even one of the roaming senses on which the mind focuses can carry away a man's intelligence.
Again, an analogy. Okay. So how much strong is the mind otherwise? Tasma yasya mahabhav. Go on. Oh.
Therefore, O mighty armed, one whose senses are restrained from their objects is certainly of steady intelligence.
Okay. So he's always talking about pragya. He's always talking about pragya. Pragya pratishtita, you see? Tasya pratya. How many times this verse has been repeated, you see? Tasya pragya pratishtita, tasya pragya pratishtita, tasya pragya pratishtita. So devotional service is for the highly intelligent people, or those who take to devotional service are highly intelligent people. That's why it says Yajanti hi subedasha tasya pragya pratishtita. Spiritual intelligence. Oh, this is another very nice verse. Yeah, must chant that verse. Ya nisha sarvabhutanam tasyam jagrati samyami yasyam jagrati bhutanam sa nisha pashyato mune. Read on.
What is night for all beings is a time of awakening for the self-controlled, and the time of awakening for all beings is night for the introspective sage.
Actually talking about days and nights. It is talking about consciousness. It's not that all the devotees now they should like keep up all the night, because those who are not devotees they sleep all night, and all the devotees now to sleep during the day. Okay, they're practicing devotees. So that would be like too, like too oversimplistic about this verse. Okay, That is talking about in terms of consciousness. Okay, you see, that's why the purport is said that there are two classes of intelligent men. One who is intelligent in material sense gratification, one introspective to cultivation of self-realization. Because it's talking about two kinds of intelligences, not talking about days and nights. Okay, as we understand it. Right. Go on.
A person who is not disturbed by the incessant flow of desires that enters like a river into the ocean, which is being which is being which is ever being filled but is always still, can alone achieve peace, and not the man who strives to satisfy such desires.
You see, it never says that the practicing devotee or even the advanced devotee who's say for on the level of bhava, he won't be having desires. The flow of desire will be incessant, but he's not disturbed. What is the disturbance? His spiritual connection to Krishna is not disturbed. Somebody dies in my family. My father dies. My mother dies. My wife dies. Okay. What happened? You are not disturbed? You are disturbed. If you are not disturbed, wait. If you are not disturbed, your relatives might suspect you of murdering them. How is it he's not disturbed? That means you already knew. He must have killed. You are disturbed. But, say for example, they died in early, like late in the night, and in the morning you went for the cremation. Everybody is crying, yelling, and all this is happening. You are also crying. You haven't eaten anything. Then you come in the afternoon, you take your bath, and all these relatives have come for the mourning, and they are there to console you. And in the evening, at say for example around 7, you are reminded, oh my God, all day long I was busy with this. I forgot my chanting. And then what do? You pick up your bead bag and you start chanting. Even though you are remembering the deceased member of your family, but you are chanting. You are not disturbed. It could not dissuade you. That disturbance was not powerful enough to dissuade you from your sadhana. Oh, I am very hungry. I'm not feeling like eating now. But oh, Krishna is hungry. I didn't offer anything to him. Let me offer something. I mean, eat it later on. I'm not even feeling like eating, but oh, Krishna is there. I must offer something. Oh, there is Tulsi is there. Oh, I forgot to water her. Such a hot season. If I don't water her daily, let me at least go and water. But this is what it is. You lose your spiritual character. All right. Verse number 71. We're almost there. Go on.
A person who has given up all desires for sense gratification, who lives free from desires, who has given up all sense of proprietorship, and is devoid of false ego, he alone can attain real peace.
You see? So these are again the characteristics. Sense of all proprietorship. I am the Lord of all I survey. Prabhupada writes. Lording it over. Prabhupada's phrase, lording it over. You will see many times he writes that. Okay. I am the Lord of all I survey. This is how Prabhupada writes it. This idea. He has given up that thing. And devoid of false ego. Okay. False ego means my. The I is a servant of Krishna, and there is nothing called my. Okay, it all belongs to Krishna. Last verse. Esha Brahmi Sthitim Prabhu. Go on. Arthur.
That is the way of spiritual and godly life, after attaining which a man is not bewildered. If one is if one is thus situated, even at the hour of death, one can enter into the kingdom of God.
See? That's the point. And that's exactly what he's going to discuss in 8th chapter. If you are attained this consciousness before you die, even at the hour of death, one can enter. So this is a specific case, what we call, remember I used the term Jivan Mukti or Bhakti. This is a case, classic case of what we call Videha Mukti. Videha Mukti means that when you attain the kingdom of God or attain prema while you leave the body in your final hours. Okay, liberation itself is a very rare thing, but even amongst the rare things, there are two categories. The larger section of people, those who are getting liberated, see, liberation means 1 in a million. Okay, so amongst those ones, okay, the majority of those who get that liberation when the hour of death closes in the final hours, you get that liberation. That's why it's called Videha Mukti. Videha means you are leaving the body and you are getting Mukti. Videha. V means not. Without Deha. That means you are leaving the body and you are getting the liberation. There's another process which is even more rare, but only and only available inside Bhakti Yoga is called Jivan Mukti. That means you are living in this body, you might continue to living in this body for another 20 years, but you have already attained liberation. That's the basic difference between these two. So here he is talking about Jivan Videha Mukti. Okay. We're already of 9 minutes over time. Vaibhavi Mataji, last and
Hare
last.
Krishna Prabhuji. In Jivan Mukti, can we also understand this with the Siddhi
Swarup
Pramanaji?
Siddhi. Swarup.
Swarup Siddhi, when
We
one goes
understand
into Siddhi.
Swarup. Yeah, Swarup. Jivan Mukti, one understands one Swarup. And in Videha Mukti, while he's leaving his body, he understands his Swarup. Close to the hour of death. Not that like he is dying and with this dying, right hand is going for death and the left hand is going for life. Not like exactly like that, but it's like, like close to that hour. Pandit Gadadhar Prabhu, I'm afraid I must close this. It's already 10 minutes over time.
We'll take tomorrow, Prabhuji.
Was it being recorded? I don't think so.
It was recorded earlier, Prabhuji. It's live.
Huh?
Yes, it's been recording. Yes.
Being recorded. Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much to all the participants. Komal Maji, it's nice to see you here. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. No.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, devotees. Hare Krishna, Dhammapanam.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.